Bare knuckle. Come on. Fight. Into the hole. That's your neck. Combo breaker. Well done.
Well, I'm getting ready to watch a video.
Really? What?
Oh, just
Martial art review. BCHQ. It's important for your mental mind state. Your mindset. My boy Jack will find trade.
Shadow counter.
If I knew someone like him, I'd have to either run away or kill myself.
I'm gonna cut my throat.
Do you know about me?
Bring me the big knife.
But also, I think even if you try to run away, like they got tagged for you, they're them kind of people.
Ultra combo.
They know when you're trying to run away as well.
No!
Bring me the big knife.
I tell you I won't do it!
Impressive.
I told you, don't fuck with me.
Danger. Danger.
Trigger warning.
I want you to watch. No, I want you to see this.
You want me to spell it out for you?
He's the American shithead who makes tricks with bricks.
Very good.
What? You can't do this!
Oh, geez. Just relax.
I hope you know what you're doing.
I know this is not what you expected. You expected glamour and dancing girls.
And you listen to me very carefully, Mr. Whatever the fuck your name is. There's a lot of ways that this thing can end, and that is entirely up to you. But you can be goddamn certain that this thing is not going to end the way that you thought it was.
UK.
New Jersey.
Project. The views, information, or opinions expressed during this series are solely those of BCHQ and Jack of One Trade. The individuals involved do not necessarily represent those of any other YouTube creator, podcaster, or production company.
Follow Jack on Instagram at Laughing Birds Pod or on Twitter at Laughing Birds.
You better ask somebody.
If you can't handle an opinion, that's on you. Save your hate mail.
Welcome.
That was almost flawless. Almost flawless. So I'm running late as usual, but we can't prevent these things from happening. Sometimes they're going to happen. This show has usually been taking place 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2 p.m. British Summertime, I believe it's called. We pushed the show back. BCHQ had some shit to do today, so he pushed it back to 7 p.m. BST, which is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going on 3 p.m. right now. I'm running late because the dog decided that she was going to shit everywhere. Without getting into graphic detail, because there's no need to really go into it, this occurred at some point last night, and she used her bed to cover it, which we then later discovered Jen doesn't have the stomach to clean it up, so I had to clean it, which is why I'm late. Either way, we're here now. The show has started. We're waiting for BCHQ to arrive, and the show today is going to be about Hitman from 2007, Agent 47. Now, this is a good movie. I know it's a little bit different from the direction that we normally were going in, which was martial arts. This has some of that, but it's not what the whole thing is basically about. Give me a second. I just realized that I don't have my phone on. So if he's trying to reach me, I'm not going to get it. So let me change that real fast. Okay. But anyway, we were doing martial arts movies in the beginning. We're not opposed to doing them, but we thought it would be a good idea to switch it up and add other different types of movies into the mix so that you all don't get bored and we don't get bored doing it also. So the first one we did was Ong Bak. That was a bit of a debacle in and of itself. We went back, did it again. We watched a second film. We followed up with Chinese Hercules off of a suggestion in the comment section. Then after that, we went over to Bloodsport. Yeah, really. We went over to Bloodsport and Taoist Master, not in that order. At least you didn't interview the Hitman by accident. Well, that's true. I mean, I wouldn't put it past either of us, but I know this movie a little bit. Now, I didn't get to watch it the way that I wanted to, but I'll wait for BC to get here. I mean, or I'm just going to start in a minute. I'll give him another minute or two, and while we wait for him to show up, because we are on a 6-hour time difference, it's entirely possible that he may have thought that this show was taking place an hour or 2 hours when it actually wasn't. But we went over the details a few times, so he should be all right. He's probably just running late like I was. But anyway, 2007 Hitman, that's where we are now. We're going to go do the Sunset Limited after this. Here we go. Easier. All right. So now I got to give you the link. We got to find a better way to get the link to you instead of posting it in the chat. And then I can also get to why this is happening on this channel and not on the actual channel where it should be taking place. And I should have led with the plugs, I realized. So let me get them all out of the way while we're still in the beginning stages of trying to make this thing a show. Officially, Laughing at Birds podcast, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check your local listings. Available on all the major platforms. Not necessarily. Well, no, it works, but it doesn't work because anybody can just click on that link, jump into the show, and then have a robot fuck us to death. That can very easily happen. I mean, it's happened before without them getting into the stream. I can't imagine what they could do if they actually got in. But Laughing at Birds every Saturday, 5 a.m. at Laughing Birds Pod on Instagram, which is where the artwork is at, clips of the show. Hoodies, $30. T-shirts are $10. Long sleeves are $20. Independent, made, handcrafted by an artist. At Laughing Birds on Twitter. You can place an order at either of those places. Moving on to the new platforms I need to make you all aware of. I just put them together over the last 2 days, which is the UKNJ project. This show now has its own channel on YouTube under the same name, UKNJ project. Find it, subscribe to it in the future. That's where these live streams will be taking place. I'll get to that in a second. We're also on Twitter and Instagram, UKNJ Project, on both of those platforms. Follow it there. Stay up to date with what's going on with the show. Clips from the show and all that shit will follow, I'm sure. I'm working on also putting a small introductory video together for this fucking thing, but I can only do so many things at once. I've been putting this all together as best as I can, so you're gonna have to work with me as it is not gonna come very quickly. But anyway, I think that about covers pretty much everything. The reason why we're not streaming over there right now is because YouTube was blocking the channel from allowing to stream. I'm sure that's probably because you need a certain amount of hours uploaded onto the channel before they will let you stream anything. I'm pretty sure that's the way that it worked when I started streaming on this channel, but not 100% certain on that. So I will update you if we need to. We can always just do the live stream off of this channel, but the whole point of making the other one was so that we can have two separate things happening, so I can live stream and hold on. Yeah, well, we'll get to that. You could have brought that up in the stream, but so I got to figure out what's going on with that. I have no idea, but the social medias are live and we're here now. So I'm doing what I can. We also have a podcast platform. Let me not forget that. UKNJ project is available on Anchor.fm. It's available on Spotify, and it's also available on Pocket Cast. Other platforms will be announced, I'm sure, as they add them, but you got to give Anchor time to work through distribution and all that nonsense. But now that we got that all out of the way, BCHQ on YouTube, you can find his motivational and speaking channel, his reaction channel. I got the podcast, as I mentioned to you earlier, BC Artist on Instagram. You can follow him there, keep up to date with what he's doing and what's going on. So now that we've gotten pretty much 12 minutes of plugs and nonsense out of the way, what's going on, dude?
I'm just glad we're here now, because I was like, because sometimes like when things happen, I'm like, is it gonna happen tonight now? Like I know it would, but do you know what I mean? Just in my head, I can't help it. I'm just like,
yeah, no, I know. I think
pain
the
in
same
ass to,
thing.
like, try and put a video up, because like people think it's quick to put a video up, but it's not. Like even like videos I'd done yesterday where I was saying that we change the times and that takes a good like 10-15 minutes to just get it up. Do you know what I mean? And upload it, and even though it's a short video, so.
Like, and that's a 2-minute video. That's not a 3-hour stream.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is really difficult. And you would think because we both have channels that it would be easier, but it really isn't. If anything,
put a video up when you said that you was running a bit late. I was going to put a video up on the channel to say, just to let people know. But then I thought by the time I've probably uploaded it and that, like we probably would have been starting near enough. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, I gotta work out a bit of a schedule because we have the Twitter and Instagram for this show, and also I have my regular ones as well. What I gotta start getting in the habit of doing is throwing a tweet out and an Instagram post out, being like, all right, we're ready, we're going. I just have to copy and paste and leave it on my clipboard on my phone so I could just put up a photo. I got to make a couple new thumbnails and all that shit. But over the next couple weeks, it should be coming together well enough that it'll be easy to remember all this shit. We'll know what we're doing. This is the hardest part of the whole thing, is trying to get it fucking started. You know, I was really hoping that we were going to be able to stream off of that channel starting today, but I didn't realize I should have made room for error. I stupidly thought that everything was going to actually work out correctly.
So is that, like, if it's what you think it is it because of, like, uploads? Because you've not got any, or there's not enough uploads on there at the moment? Like, what?
Yeah, I think that's what the issue is, because it says that you need to have, I think, 15 hours at least of videos uploaded before they'll allow you to live stream. But then you also have the issue of YouTube has changed it. Before, any channel would be able to live stream. Now you have to have 1,000 subscribers to live stream directly off of your channel, which is why I'm going through StreamYard right now. Otherwise, I wouldn't even have to do that. but now it's getting StreamYard to connect to YouTube on the other channel, not to confuse it with this one. So I probably have to talk to those people and get them to figure it out as well. Not to mention, you're supposed to be able to download any past streams that you do on StreamYard, which would have made it a lot easier to transplant all the videos that we've done onto the new channel. But I couldn't do that. It wouldn't allow me to. To get a hold of the tech support team at StreamYard, I would have had to literally set up a conference call with them, and I didn't have time to do that. So I found a good MP3 converter for YouTube, and I just downloaded each episode that we did, threw it in the fucking video editor, and uploaded them. They're a mess now. I have to go back and edit them properly because all the intros sound terrible and everything is all fucked up. But by the time I'm done with it, we'll probably be a few weeks into it before it even starts to resemble anything. So I'm going to have to backtrack and fix it as I go. I'm just trying to sloppily lay the foundation right now.
I did try, as you know, I tried that transfer stuff, and it told me it downloaded it. I tried it about 5 times, but then as soon as it downloaded, it just disappeared.
Yeah, I know it took me a minute to figure out where it went, but I got a download folder up where my videos are when I'm done recording them. So
I've got a
I could
folder
just
online that I was checking, but I just couldn't find it in there. And as I said, I tried it about 5 times. I don't think it was a problem with actually downloading it. It was just where it went after that.
Yeah, if I was better with technology, I would be able to walk you through how to do it, because it's not difficult once you figure it out, but the problem is figuring it out, and I'm not swift with it at all. I had to get my friend to he stopped over. He just happened to stop over, and he was able to fix this for me because I couldn't even get my password in to pull the fucking thing on. That's what happened the last time we went live. Windows decided right in the middle of me starting a live stream that it was gonna update. Like, what the fuck, dude? And you want me to be able to trust this guy to come up with vaccinations? Like, that's a whole separate argument, but Jesus Christ. So anyway, Hitman 2007. That's the movie that we've come here to talk about today. Well, I know you would know that by the 20 minutes of this beginning, but this channel has been a mess, and it's going to be a mess for a few more weeks. We're on a 6-hour time difference. We're doing what we can to try to put this shit together as well as possible. So work with us. The end result is going to be worth it, I suppose. I would hope to the rest of you, but I know we're going to put the work into it that'll make it fucking worth it. So Hitman 2007, where do we start?
Well, I was going to let you start because you've seen this film before and you recommended it to me. All I will say is that this is the one that I've had the least amount of notes on, which is good in a way. But I was just going to say, I hope you've got a lot to say about it, because I might get through my notes pretty quick because it's the least amount of notes that I've had.
Well, for me,
I've got like a couple pages, but like for the others, I had like probably double what I've got here.
I mean, this one's a little bit different because it's kind of so straight to the point. There's not really a whole lot to write about. It's more so, I think when you come away from this movie, it's about how you experienced it more so than what it is that you watched. Not that the story isn't good or that the action isn't great, because it is, and it is, but that's what I like about this movie. So I guess that's where I'll start. Is everybody probably knows this film because of the video games that came out. Now I'm new to this whole Hitman situation. I just got a fucking PS4 in my life, so I'm learning all this new shit. I just found Hitman 2. I got the demo loaded up right now. I remember this movie when it came out back in 2007 because her mom's husband rented it out of the Red Box. And when he put it in, this was the first time I've heard rumblings about the game. I'd never played it. All that shit cost money. I was busy running the streets You know what I mean? I wasn't fucking around with video games. But anyway, they put the movie in and I watched it, and the whole thing pretty much just blew my mind. It's like a more intense James Bond kind of a feel that this
You know, I was
movie
going to
has.
say that I'm not a massive James Bond fan, but I've seen a few of the films, and I had that come into my head a few times when I was watching it, that it was like I don't know, like, what would you call it? Like a more kind of street sort of version of like a James Bond.
Definitely. I mean, for me anyway, when I put on a James Bond film, this is what I want to see. I want to see action like this. I want, like all the action movies say, edge of your seat, thriller and all that. But this one, I really felt like it took you there. It forced you to, and you identify with what I really like about, I know I'm all over the place, but this is another reason it's not related, but this is a show I would recommend to you. And I've talked about it before. Mr. In Between. This movie and that show have this thing in common, which is like it's easy to sign on board with a Hitman movie, right? Because everybody is kind of, I don't know what the right word is, but it's almost like you look at a person who is capable of some shit like that in awe in a way, right? But Hitman and Mr. In Between both do a thing where the Hitman aspect of what they're talking about becomes a side note, and they really involve you in who the fucking character is and why you should give a shit about them beyond the fact that they kill people. Like, you almost have to, the purpose of the movie and that show is to not have you wrestle with the morality of being a hitman, rather to just accept that that's who this person is, and you got to look past it to see more about who they are. Why are they in this line of work? What happened to them that gave them the ability to wipe people out for money, essentially?
And obviously at the beginning, like, you get like, I don't know, I think it was flashbacks of like him as a kid, and they're in like some sort of camp where they've kind of been basically kidnapped and like groomed in this camp where they're all getting like given numbers and stuff, and these basically barcodes on the back of their heads. What was the like, because I can't think now, like, what was the reason? Like, did they go into why, like, how he got taken and put there?
They were, I don't think he was taken. I think he was designed. I could have this completely wrong, but, and I know I just watched a movie recently. I was going to bring this up, not as in a way that I would have wanted to, where I watched it in parts, but there was so much going on that I couldn't sit down and pay close attention to the story, even though I love this fucking movie. But I'm pretty sure these kids were designed. The government was basically trying to create super soldiers. So they took these kids in a basically like a lab setting. They gave them numbers so that they wouldn't attach themselves to an identity. Because I mean that shows you how deeply they thought about the writing. Because the first thing that you do,
I mean,
when you go ahead.
The one thing that annoyed me is I'm watching it, and not too long into the film, I'm like, I know it's based in Russia and stuff, but I'm like, why is nobody questioning why these bald guys have got barcodes on the back of their heads?
Well, yeah, see, but that part of it, I think that's just movie suspension. Like, that you have to give certain details. And you know what? This was brought up. Jim Norton brought this up when him and Sam Roberts were talking about The Sopranos. When people would talk about like the show is not really that great because phone calls and shit that they would never say on the phone in real life. But Jim made a point, which was that you have to do some of that to speed it up a little bit. right? Like you have to just kind of suspend the belief that nobody is concentrating on the fact that this guy is a huge barcode on the back of his fucking head. As obvious as that is, but it's almost like it's a not so subtle reminder throughout the whole film that you're not looking at a regular human being. At least that's how I kind of perceived it as.
I mean, yeah, like I get that. I just thought like that was something that stood out to me. I was like, because at the same time in my head, I'm like, well, maybe they know about him in the past, or like they're intimidated by him, so they don't question it. But just seeing it for the first time, I was like, really, no one's like questioning it, like. But I mean, it's not a massive deal. It was just something I picked out.
Well, no, yeah, I mean, dude, that's the problem with movies like this, though, is they unintentionally, I think they all have a detail that makes you look at it and then you have to decide, is the rest of this movie good enough for me to overlook this fucking huge detail that is killing me right now?
And also,
But
while we're on the subject, why are they bald as well? Like, I don't understand. Is it so they like recognize each other in a way, or like?
No, I think that comes down to more so like fingerprints burned off, no hair, so that they don't leave extra evidence behind at the scene. Like that, so that as jarring as that is too, though, like that's, you have to remind yourself of that too. Like he's walking around like a fucking cancer patient that's looking to get revenge, but that's not what it is.
There's a scene quite early on as well, where I think it's in like, I don't know if it's, I want to say like Africa or something. It might be still in Russia, but there's like there's a couple. Well, it's about 3 black guys, and they've got a prisoner that they've caught stealing something, and they chop his arm off. And I just wanted to mention that because I just thought that was a brutal scene. Like he's all like tied up, and then they just chop it off, and then the camera shot after that, they're still like basically ready to torture him, but he's just like, his arm's just been cut off, and you can just see where it's been cut off, and it's just hanging. And put out
brutal. I mean, dude, this is one I'm definitely gonna, I would say I'm gonna watch this again and kind of bring it up next week a little bit, but not to have it bleed into the next show too much. But just
I think
because
this one might be a bit, well, certainly on my part tonight, just because I've got a least amount of notes on it. So,
I mean, only because there's certain scenes that stick out of my mind that I don't know well enough to bring them up. But the greenhouse. I think there was a greenhouse scene in this movie that was a pretty big deal to the plot. If I remember, I think it was something to do with the guy's father. Something like that. I do have to watch it again because, god damn it, it's been a long time since I actually was able to, the story part of it anyway. But the basics I have, which is this dude is cold-blooded killer by design. So when he kills people, it's just a contract, right? And now he's been sent out to take out a target. So he thinks. That's what this movie is basically about, how the company that made this guy is just looking to tie up their loose ends now. They want to cover up the project and they want to wipe out all these people that are left over. So they send him to take out a bogus target. And this is the interesting part of this movie too, which is why I brought up the character development in the beginning. When he goes to take out the target, he realizes by looking at her face, she's never seen him before. She has no idea why the hit is coming. Now, I know you could easily be like, so what? She's never seen him. That doesn't mean anything. But you have to understand, if you're in the business of wet work, even if you're the one that's going to get wet, you know there's a reason why it's coming. So when the moment finally arrives, you're like, oh shit, but you expect it. Where this woman clearly had no reason to suspect anything like that would happen to her. And he notices this and he pulls off right away, also because he happens to get shot at the very moment that he realizes that she has no idea what the fuck is going on. Somebody takes a shot at him, ironically somebody that looks awfully a lot like him, sent out by the company to wipe this dude out. Now he's got to figure out, why are they trying to take me down? Which is essentially the rest of the film. But it does highlight a lot of shit that is missing on other action films like a James Bond that I love, dude. And this is another part. I know we're talking about the movie and not the game, but part of the appeal to the game that I like so much is that you have to pay attention. If you're going to sneak up on somebody, you legitimately got to sneak up on them. Like, if you walk too fast, the person's going to turn around and see you. The movie follows that same shit where it actually puts you in the shoes of this guy while he's doing shit. The intense moments of being in a shootout and feeling that adrenaline rush, even though you're not there, it paints it strong enough where the action sequences are not so much an undertone of the story arc, where they make it a staple of it.
I did like quite early on in the film, like he's in a hotel and like you was on about like the sneaking up and that he's already like looking over his shoulder in terms of just how he lives, but like he put like, I think it was like little glass balls and that outside his door, that so if someone stood out there, like he could hear them crush it and get like a little bit of a heads up that someone's about to knock or try and break in, and then he's got like a bungee cord at the balcony. I thought that was really cool how they like set it up, and then it gets revealed later on that he has to use that, and like it comes into like practice.
This reminds me of another movie I want to mention to you before I forget. It's not martial arts. It's almost like action drama in a way. I would argue it's more so a drama film than anything, because majority of the dialogue takes place between two characters. But there's a scene in this movie, it's called Standoff, with Lawrence Fishburne and the guy that was in I, Frankenstein. He also played in Thank You for Smoking. He's been a villain in a bunch of movies. I don't remember his fucking name. He was Two-Face in the Batman movie, in the one with Heath Ledger in it.
I know who you mean. I can't think of his name though.
It's that guy and Lawrence Fishburne. And Lawrence Fishburne is a hitman who, goes to take out an entire funeral, which is fucking solid if that's where you're starting out in a spy, hitman, whatever movie. That's a solid fucking beginning. Little girl sees the whole thing take place, and this killer now has to wipe out this witness. She's the only one. Little girl runs to a dude's house. Happens to be a farmhouse just out in the middle of nowhere, basically. This guy in this house is at the end of his fucking rope. Kid is dead. Wife is gone. And now this little girl runs into his house looking to get her life saved. And now this dude basically has gone from about to put a shotgun in his mouth and Kurt Cobain himself to, now I got to protect this fucking little girl from this crazy person that's trying to kill her. And that's what the whole movie is the intensity between the little girl, the murderer, the hitman, and this random fucking guy who basically has just been given a second chance at life, dude. But I bring that movie up because there's a scene where the guy from I, Frankenstein tells the little girl to grab a whole bunch of light bulbs from the other, take all the light bulbs out. And he goes, now put them in a pillowcase and I want you to break the glass. And she's like, well, I don't understand. He's like, just shut up and do what I tell you. And then she does it. They take the broken glass and they throw it down the stairs because the staircase is the only way up to the second floor. So now if the dude downstairs wants to go up, the only way he's going to do it is by walking through the glass, which will tell this guy that he's coming up there, which apparently is an old school military trick. At least that's what they said in the film, that was an old school military trick. So I like that a movie like Hitman will take things like that.
They took it from that film, or do you just think it was like...
Well, no, this film was made, I think, in 2012. Hitman was made in 2007. So I think that is just an old trick that they use, which is very smart. I often not that I'm thinking about killing people, but I often do wonder what are my options if somebody breaks into this apartment in the middle of the night? You know what I mean? You got to think about it. In the old house, we had a shower head in the bathroom that would come off. I literally planned it out so if I heard somebody come to the front door, I would have enough time to move from the bedroom to the bathroom. And as soon as they come in, I'll beat you with a shower head if that's what it takes, dude. If that's what it takes to get the job done, that's what I'll do. But yeah, you know, shit like that, details like that are the difference between a great movie and a fucking horrible movie, dude. And
There's a
this
part
one,
in that where they track him down at the hotel, and he kind of gets away, but he goes down to like the floor below him into someone else's like hotel room, and there's like two kids playing a video game, and I could be wrong, but because I never played it, but it looks like it could be the Hitman game, and
it probably was. Oh man, you know what sucks, dude, is that we can't pull up the clips of the movie while we're talking about it, but everybody does that shit anyway. So,
Yeah.
you know,
But I could see like why would they would do that. I thought that was clever if it is that game. I just don't know if it is because I've never played it, but I would assume it is because it's.
I
like,
would,
he
yeah, I
looks
would
at
say
the
it's a
the
safe
screen and
bet.
it's kind of like just a little. It's a bit like cheesy, really, but it's like I feel like they put it in there on purpose because it's obviously it's the video game, but it's in the film. So
It's like how, have you ever seen Doom?
what? There's a film of it. Or the
Yeah.
game? I
Yeah,
didn't know
no,
there was
there's a film.
I haven't seen the film. No, I've played a bit of the game.
It's got has The Rock in it. I mean, don't get me wrong, the film is okay. It's never going to be as good as the game, but that's because the game has built up since the fucking 90s, dude. I remember that game being on the first computers I've ever seen. People were playing Doom. So, you know, it's never going to match up, but in Doom, it's a little bit of fan service towards the end of the film where they take The Rock in first person and he goes through a few action sequences in the film where he's shooting people and killing people, and it's from the first person viewpoint, same as how the game would be. It's kind of like what they did with this, where it's like, you know, we made the film, we're gonna give a little nod to the game because, I mean, how could you not? I think in a way, fans of the game and the movie would probably be pissed if they didn't. But I mean, this also, but not a very easy thing to do, to take a video game that people love over the years and has been solid release after release and then make a fucking movie about it that even slightly holds up. Not easy to do. And James Bond, not to keep bringing it back to that, but GoldenEye for Nintendo 64 and the GoldenEye movie, two completely different experiences.
I used to love that game.
Oh, dude, I have it in this house right now. Love it. There's nothing like going back, dude, to that old school shit, man.
That's probably one of the first ever video games I ever played, probably. Like, it's one of the first memories I've got, anyway, of a video game.
Yeah, me and myself, too. My friends and I all playing that game, putting the cheat codes in to get the big fucking heads. That was, dude, always shooting each other. You know, 3 fucking screens or 2 screens, passing controllers around. That was the shit, dude. But it's another reason why I kind of like this movie selfishly, I guess, is because you can watch it and it brings you into that moment in your life at the same time. So I guess it does kind of get a little bit more of a pass from me than maybe the average movie critic would give it.
Yeah.
But
there's a scene in this as well where he it sort of goes back into it later on in the film, but where he shoots the president and like with a sniper rifle, and I wasn't expecting.
Oh, I forgot about that. That was the original hit where the setup took place, right? Because it was a fucking, it was a dummy. It was a dummy target.
Yeah, but
I forgot about that.
I'm thinking, right, okay, he's gonna sniper him. But I wasn't expecting, like, his head literally explodes. I was like, whoa.
Dude, I love that they make it that graphic because it really like we're not gonna show you a fun little bang bang Schwarzenegger movie where people are getting fucking shot and they just fall on the ground and that's it. This brings you into the horrific detail.
I think it kind of tricked me because like on the sniper and that, it looks like he's got like silencer on it, and like you think it's just gonna be a quick hit, like
But that
it
shit's
is, but it's
fucking
just the way
loud.
it explodes because you're not expecting it to like have that kind of like impact.
No, but that's it. For me, that sets up the intensity of the movie right there because it's letting you know we are taking you through everything that this guy is gonna do. You get a front row seat to every bit of the action, and we're not gonna skimp out. This is what you came here for. Henry is another great example of that, but that's a movie that is shot completely in first person, like a video game. That one's kind of hard to stomach from a motion standpoint, but still good. But I mean, yeah, dude, this film is great in the sense that they showed all the action. The storyline was solid. Yeah.
It's for the winter. That's why.
It's
like we're so used to just only one.
So it's a good movie in the sense that there's shit wrong with it. There's parts of it that are corny, of course, but I'll take those corny parts for the action on the story writing all day, dude.
If we're talking about corny things, can I just bring something up?
Yeah.
I can't stand how he walks. He walks like he's got something shoved up his ass.
Dude, that's the serial killer slow walk. I'm gonna walk 2 miles an hour and still get to you no matter how fast you run walk.
But it's
That's
weird.
I got a purpose walk.
He looks so stiff and like I was just, are you kidding me? Like,
I don't know if they do that to try to be like, this is how controlled I am over my body, that everything that I do makes me look like a robot. I'm not sure.
I mean, I'm not saying go fully the other way with it and be over the top with like he's like fucking show.
You don't want slow motion. You don't want slow motion neon lights moving around him every time he takes a step.
And I don't want him like bopping around. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
Like it went too far the other way, and it didn't have that effect on me. I never thought like he's in control. I was just like, why is he walking like that?
And I don't know if you thought this, but it kind of seemed like they used two different actors for the main guy at times, right? Like it seemed like he had two different faces. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, and I think maybe his voice at times as well.
Yeah. But I mean, again, dude, all right, so it's not perfect. And, we're talking about 2007. They were probably shitting bricks trying to put this fucking movie together. I mean, the amount of heat and people either probably love or hate this movie. There's no in between because there are diehard fans of the game. They're like, this fucking movie sucks. It took everything from the game and didn't use any of it the right way. And there are other people that are just going to accept, like, look, Hollywood is going to fuck it up, dude.
Well,
They're
I think
going.
that's what you were saying earlier about, like, comparing it to, like, a video game and that. I think it's up against that straight away more than other films. Like, films that have to compete with, they've got video games of as well. Like, it's already, like, double the task of what it would be if there weren't a video game for it. So it's already up against the odds to begin with.
Not to mention that other films only have their last film to be held up to. I mean, I know it's the same thing basically, but James Bond only had other James Bond films to follow up against, and they got to switch out actors and do the same story over and over again. Well, not that there's anything wrong with that. If I'm all for rewriting a story, if you're gonna do it well, don't remaster the same old shit and try to sell me something new. It's annoying. But I'm saying, dude, I don't know, man. Some parts of it, obviously, I don't want to I don't want to kiss the movie's ass the entire time. But
No,
I mean,
but
of
this
course,
is your turn this week because I had it last week. With
yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, dude, there is a real robotic feel to it, right? Like you have to
That's what
acknowledge
I'm
that.
glad you said that because near the end of the film, and I had hints of it through the film, but near the end of it, I was like, it's almost like he's not human.
I really wish, now that we're talking about it, to tell you the truth, I almost wish they would have hired Tom Cruise and Keanu Reeves just to play out the action parts of it. Because can you imagine, take that whole movie and just imagine somebody with Tom Cruise's mobility redoing all those action scenes, and maybe that might take a little bit of the sting out of it. The guy that did it, he was great in the sense that you felt the character's coldness, but when it came time for him to be a person, it felt like he just arrived he stayed too long on the cold side.
I'm wondering if they've done that on purpose because they've got video games. Maybe because I was about to say like it is literally like he is a video game character in a film. And
Yeah.
I don't know if they did that because of the video games as well, or if it was intentional or just bad casting.
See, this is one I would like to see be remade, but I want to put in the hands of somebody that's going to do it the right fucking way.
I've got someone in mind already that you've brought up before. Now, I don't know if it'd be too obvious because he's done similar roles in other films, but I would go for Jason Statham.
Definitely. I would say definitely him. If not, at the minimum, you got to hire Tom Cruise, Jason Statham, and Keanu Reeves to consult the stuntmen and choreograph the entire film so that it can be moved properly. And then, I mean, who would you bring in to direct the fucking thing, though? That would be, I guess, I wouldn't mind it in the same style as maybe Crank. I don't know if you've seen that one. Even
it's been a long time.
Lock, Stock, and Two Loaded Barrels. I like the way that film was shot too. Take that guy and have him direct it. I think that would be a nice hybrid to go back and revisit it. I mean, it sucks, dude, because I definitely, I mean, I give this movie, not to get into the ratings so quickly, but I think I would rate this movie high just because of the massive undertaking that it was to create this and even get some of it right.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, I think you have to, well, you don't have to, but I feel like when they get certain things right, you have to praise them more because there's a video game of it, because they've got more competition already. And like you said, even if they bring out other films after it, they've got to compete with people comparing like the sequel to the other film and also the video game still. So it's like there's three things now going on. Do you know what I mean? And there's like three comparisons, and so I think you have to give praise more when there is praise, even if the ratio is more bad than good, because like you said, it's harder to probably please more people like this because there's going to be a lot of people that are fans of the video game that only go and watch that film because they know it's like linked to the video game.
Yeah, just so they can say that they saw it. I mean, I brought up something last week where I mentioned the one thing that I hate that they do in movies is the fucking romantic interest angle.
Look, she's not the worst I've seen in a film, but I already, when I was watching it, I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
This doesn't need to be in this film.
No.
Another one, like every single one we do. And then I was thinking today of it. I was like, even Karate Kid's got it in it. And I'm like, why is it necessary to have it in every single fucking film?
It's almost like they anticipate they're dragging their girlfriends with them. We need to
what
put
I did
in
like about it is that she had a bit of an edge to her. So she wasn't like PC and all like
right
Americanized and that. But I was still like, I could be doing without this.
Yeah, I mean that's the part that you're like, it's almost like they added that in just so they can market it to America. Yeah. Where we don't need that. I can't speak for the entire country, but I would venture to say that there are a decent amount of us that can handle watching a fucking film. We don't need the romantic if you're gonna put a fucking sex scene in a movie, dude, then make it intense and have it match the action, or don't bother.
Do you know my notes for this? I put sick of the females in all of these films.
Right, like really, because like, dude, people would be like, "Oh, that's sexist," and like, no, dude, like, really, if you dissect that statement, it's really more so about like give a woman a role that's worth fucking having, instead of having them being a glorified fucking mannequin throughout the film.
Like, I would have preferred it if she was in it and she was like an agent or one of them, instead of being the role that she's given.
Yeah, I mean, dude, we know these guys fuck, dude. We know they fuck. If I fuck and I look like me, I imagine what they could do, and they look like them and do what they do. Right? We don't need it drawn that plainly for all of us. Give these women a fucking role that will actually be worth watching. I'm not opposed to it. I like Salt for that reason, because
what was that, Salt?
Yeah, I think that's the name of the movie. I probably have it wrong. Angelina Jolie is in it. Morgan Freeman is in it.
You list so many films. We've done it in other shows as well. And I'm like, I've not seen any
Dude.
of these
I mean,
films.
dude, I reference so much, and I haven't even seen that many things. But just a few movies, you really do make a fucking impact, and I can kind of just connect all the dots. It's ridiculous, but I mean, she was in there, kind of a sex symbol, but she did add more to the action than just being like, "Oh, I'm here and I'm hot."
And see, she was, but I feel like she would have suited being like a hit lady, if you want to call her that, because she had that kind of edginess to her anyway.
Yeah,
and I think she would have suited that sort of role more anyway. So it's just, I was like,
this one I was talking about.
Yeah, I've not seen it. I haven't even heard of it.
Yeah, this one's pretty good. CIA agent goes on the run after a defector accuses her of being a Russian spy. I mean, the storyline is played to death, but it's a good action. It's a good action movie. I mean, women don't really get to play that role often. They should. I mean, again, if you can fucking do it and do it well, why not do it? But they don't give the opportunity. We got to see the same 5 motherfuckers do the same shit all the time.
Yeah, and I feel like that, like, even if they give it to a woman and she kind of flopped on it, like, they're more hesitant to not then give it to another person in the future that's a woman. And I'm like, but you don't do that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Steven Seagal can make shit after shit and nobody says nothing. Nobody cares.
Yeah, that's like kind of, I mean, that's that we could talk about that on a whole nother thing, because that goes into fucking like careers in real life as well. So, but it doesn't, it like, it's just bullshit.
Yeah, definitely. No fucking question, dude. But yeah, that's annoying. I could have did without that. I didn't like it. When I seen it the first time, it aggravated me just because I was like, "Oh man, I thought we were past this." Yeah. When you showed me that fucking bullet enter that guy's head, I thought we had an agreement that we weren't gonna do shit the same way that we've all been doing it for years, but apparently not. And if you don't do it that way, you don't get the recognition you deserve. I mean, look at John Wick, dude. That's as close to a film that is just straight up action as you can get. And even there, they throw in the fucking love interest angle. Granted, it sets in motion the entire fucking movie, but it's the point. They can't not do it.
I know.
They have to beat us over the head with it. I would have liked to have seen from the beginning, let me see the evolution of this fucking murderer from a child. Let me see how do you brainwash them? What do you expose them to? What do you not expose them to? Yeah. We get they don't have names, right? Because when you get a dog, even when you get a pet, the first thing you do is you name it. They don't have names. They have numbers. Okay, cool. Well, how do they eat? Where do they sleep? How do they live? Or and where's the transition from we're brainwashing you to go out in the field and make a hit? Did you fuck it up the first time? Do you get a first time? Or do you get sent out on a hit and you fuck it up and they just shoot you and throw you in the pile and then make another one of you? All these things they could have brought up and they did none of that, which is a problem. Again, a reboot would be nice if it would be done fucking properly. I would love to see it, but I don't think anybody has the balls and or the talent to actually do it that's going to get the shot they deserve, because we know that there are people that would be able to do it. But the reality is, unless you're going to reboot fucking Spider-Man, again, nobody's interested, unfortunately.
So I just want to mention a scene that another one that goes on in the hotel that I liked, because it kind of, they show you it, but you're like, why is he doing that? And then later on you find out why. But he's there's a woman that tries to chat him up at the bar in the hotel, which I like.
Oh shit, yeah.
She's really like, she really wants to like get with him, and he's just like, see you later, and then like fucks off, and then he's just about to go into the room or whatever, and there's like this box of ice in the hallway, and you see him like putting his hand in it, and I thought, what's he doing? And then later on,
to see how long it's been sitting there.
But he later on he uses that box to pull two guns that he stored in the ice box.
Nice. That's I mean, brilliant. I love it. I mean, dude, that's another thing too. I said it before. These guys fuck. We know they fuck. If I fuck and I look like me, I know they fuck. Do we need the lady at the bar? Do we need the attractive woman at the bar who is basically slipping and falling on her own cum looking at this guy? Do we need that? I know what I look like. You know what I mean? I don't need the reminder. And I'm so cool. I'm just gonna walk past this attractive woman and act like I have no interest. Now, what would have been great, although this kind of would have probably made it into a parody movie, but I would have liked to have seen like an X-ray of his pants just to show that there was no movement in his dick at all whatsoever. Just to be like, you see, I feel nothing the way a normal person feels. They go into his brain and they see that the signals are not being fired in the places it should be fired. So he's not registering that this woman is trying to give him the business right now. None of that.
See a percentage of how many women would actually like him and be that attracted to him when they see him fucking walking.
Seriously. Or, when they find out what they do.
Yeah.
When you find out what this guy does.
So you'll be at home with us and the kids and have a nice normal life.
Yeah. Like, don't go near I got a little bit of brain on the windshield. Don't worry about that. We'll just wipe that down. We'll hose that down later.
Oh, what's that I can hear? Oh, that's just a woman I've got in the boot of the car.
Yeah. Is that your pager again? Look, man, fucking contracts don't take a day off, right? Like I gotta do that. This is the fifth time. How many anniversaries are you gonna miss? To go blow some guy's brains out for a few $1 million? You fucking piece of shit. Yeah, raise the kids all by myself. I see it. I see how it is. Go kill people. That's all you know how to do. You have no emotions.
What's
you imagine?
Just out of interest, because I noted down, like, there was a particular scene in this film that is by far my favorite. So I just wondered if you had a favorite scene.
I mean, I don't want to say the bullet in the head is my favorite scene, but I like how that immediately sets the tone. Or better yet, even the moment when he goes to look at his target and he realizes that he's not taking her out.
Yeah.
When they go to fire at him, I like that because it shows the instinct of the character. Not enough movies don't take enough time to do that sometimes, I feel like.
Yeah. I personally, I really like the scene on the train where he's getting followed by the other like hitmen, and they all like basically come together in the train with guns and that, and they're all like aiming them at each other basically, and then he says to all of them like something like, "Don't you want to die with honor?" And they all drop their guns, empty the magazines in the guns, and they all whip out swords and have a fucking sword fight. I was like, whoa.
Fuck, I forgot about that. See, dude, there's so much happening in this fucking film, dude, that most of the action I completely forgot about. I
just loved it because they're all like fuck the guns, but they're more like daggers. They pull out these daggers and then they're like.
It lets you know that these motherfuckers. It lets you know that these motherfuckers mean business, man.
Like I thought, so they all had an understanding because they were kind of like, it was like a sports huddle for a second, and then all of a sudden, like they dropped the guns, and I thought, they're cool, and then they start fighting. I was like, oh shit, maybe not.
It's that calm before the storm, dude. That brief moment, you know, it's funny. I've seen it in real life too. Even if you look at the 50 Cent in the Game beef, when they held the press conference and basically said they were cool, you could tell those dudes were not cool at fucking all.
Back a few years ago, and when they shook hands and that you can see that they're just like, oh, like,
yeah,
just
horrible.
Not even, like fully like embracing the handshake and.
But those again, that's actually I should second your motion, because that's a real life moment that they were able to interject into a movie, because I would like to believe, as naive as this is, that there is still some sort of honor amongst thieves, in the sense that, you know, I live by a fucking code. I think most decent people do. The rules and regulations, the shit, things you don't do, or there's a certain way you go about doing things. So, you know, even if it comes down to a fucking blade fight in a train, you know, these are the rules that we live by, right? We can always stand around and shoot each other, or we can go out like the warriors that we say that we are. Yeah. Which basically what that was, but that's a hard fucking moment, dude. I mean, again, I get so
time like I've seen something in a film that like I've never seen anything similar to that in any other film. So I just like when them sort of things happen in films, because I might just be ignorant and this happened in other films, but I've never seen something how they did it in that. So
if it like Kill Bill has a scene that it's in a building, it's not on a train, but it does have the samurai sword warrior angle to it, which is why I appreciate those movies so much. But I mean, it is done in other films, but it's not done often or well when it is done. Very few movies, though, the ones that are universally cherished, usually don't get the recognition they deserve. Like, you won't see these type of movies get a fucking Oscar or a Grammy or an Emmy, whatever. You know, you won't hear this conversation with things like this, regardless of what the movie is, unless you're a Quentin Tarantino, you know, and you put in years or whatever. But I mean, I know you wanted to get into the next movie to be a martial arts film, but I want to just, while we're in the vein of doing something different, though, I do want to do the Sunset Limited, because that is a movie that is basically the wheelhouse of this channel in a way. Not that I'm getting off of what we're talking about, but I did want to mention that while we're still in the throes of conversation.
I mean, I already feel like I'm going to enjoy that film more anyway, because I just think that I just think it'll hold my attention a bit more, because I've never been crazy on action stuff anyway. I like it, but it's just
predictable in a way.
Like I'm blowing my own trumpet, but like I've always been a bit more of a thinker. Like, and with action sometimes, like even though there's, like you were saying in this, like it's clever in certain things, like as long as you've got like common sense in that, like you can follow the plot even though it's clever.
Yeah, but that's because, again, unfortunately, every genre goes through this, though, dude. The action movies do it, horror movies do it. White girl running through the woods, I trip and fall. Oh no, here's the killer. Black guy is gonna die first. Romantic comedy does it too. I'm married to one guy, and really, I should be with the best friend, and blah blah blah. Like they all. The
Do you
problem
know,
is,
just while you reminded me, you saying about the black guy dying first. There's that in that sword fight. It just randomly popped in my head. I was like, because he's like the last one that dies out of that little dagger fight that they have. It was against the black guy, and I was like, he didn't die first.
Yeah, it's almost like, I mean, I don't know if that was a conscious decision in the writers' room, but I would hope so. Just to be like, you know what, dude, we're gonna fucking do this shit the right way.
Yeah.
But
It just
I mean,
because there's like this serious scene going on, and in my head I'm like, he didn't go first. Get in.
fucking great, dude. I mean, this is one of the good films. The problem with the genre action in general is you have to kind of dig to find the good movies, because there are a shitload that are just mindless explosions and action.
I just feel like films, like genres, I feel like action films are like the steroids of the business.
Yeah, of course. I mean, especially if you go off of all the mainstream titles, dude. You would think that there wasn't a decent one made, but they're out there.
Yeah.
You gotta find them. Unfortunately, with so many options, people don't really need to go digging through a genre to find something they like. They'll just click on something else.
And I think, not to try and insult people, but I think a lot of people now don't want to think, do they? They just want to fucking be entertained and not necessarily follow a storyline.
Yeah, which sucks for the rest of us that actually want to, because they get catered to.
And because of that, they make... I can't even express how much more money they make because of that nowadays. Because people that, like I said, that don't want the storylines and that, make these people so much richer than they would have been anyway, because they're just throwing them out left, right, and center.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, a big plot line of this movie, though, is definitely betrayal.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. I mean, in an odd place
I got
to
that a
find
lot
it.
from the Taoist Master we did. I felt like that was heavily in that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that seems to be a strong tone in these movies too, which is always getting fucked. But that's also a very real worry too, is constantly having to be paranoid and people around you and all that shit.
I was thinking, like, when you a little bit earlier, like, I'd hate to live like, because I've always been interested in like The Sopranos. Like, I've always loved like mafia stuff and like Goodfellas and The Godfather. And I'm thinking that'd be cool to live like a life like that. And then I'm like, no, I wouldn't though, because like if you've got kids in that and then you want to get away, like you can't. Like there's no choice. You can't get away from it. Do you know what I mean? And it's that constantly looking over your shoulder for the rest of your life, and like you're either going to get killed or you're going to die from like a heart attack or something anyway, because of you're constantly on edge. And if they don't get you, they're going to get your family. Do you know what I mean? So it's just,
If you're lucky, you die of a heart attack.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, or
like I've always
you get
it's
killed
crazy,
with a bullet to the head.
because like I don't know, you might feel differently to me, but I know that you like a lot of, like mafia stuff and that. But like I think people fall in love with it a lot, like they do with like serial killer things. And then you're like, I couldn't actually do that myself though, even though I tell myself I could. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't think people realize that once you're in it, you like, it's very hard to then get out of it.
Dude,
if you have a
like,
change of heart.
It's like anything else. People look at it on its face, it looks fucking great. Nobody fucks with me. Everybody respects me, even if they don't like me. And everywhere I go, people know who the fuck I am and what I represent.
Do you know? I think that's like everything, isn't it? Because I'm just thinking as you're talking now, and you get that in like sports and everything. Whoever becomes like the champion, like it's even more work, even more stress than you thought you had. You thought you were stressing to win the championship or whatever. Now people are after you even more because they want to be the one to beat the guy, kind of thing.
Heavy lies the crown. I mean, that's why they say that shit, dude, because it fucking does. Like, you think this shit is not, it's not, we all want the same thing, which is really fucked up. It's just sad that doing it that way is faster, arguably, in every direction. You don't have to work a 9 to 5 to, slave to get pennies on the dollar. I can shoot a motherfucker in the head and make $1 million. But they don't talk about the reverse of that, up all night, cold sweats, getting haunted in your fucking dreams. Because even the hardest fucking killers, dude, if you watch documentaries and shit, even some of those guys get haunted by things that, even if it's only, I should have did this or that differently and I wouldn't have ended up here, they get haunted by that for the rest of their life. So it's never as glamorous as it looks on the outside, because there is all that on the inside of, not only can you not move, but now if you ever do, you make a life choice. Like, I can never have a family. Even if I wanted one, I can never have a life. There's very few gangsters that go up to live a quiet life.
I don't want to like go down a path too much because we'll be here all night, but I just thinking it's crazy, isn't it? How they sell you like through the films and that it's just cool, and we all fall for it. Like,
what's even more fucked up is they make millions portraying these things that you will do life for.
Yeah.
99% of the things that these people do, they would throw you under the jail for and not think twice about you, and you're lost and forgotten. But on the screen, it's all good. That guy can kill whoever he wants, fuck whoever he wants, steal whatever. Like, it doesn't, there's no consequence. But then you walk out of the movie theater and you're supposed to remind yourself, like, oh, not even remotely could I do any of those cool things that I just seen.
And you know what? I've just popped into my head as well. I've spoken to you about it before, like where, like, I'll watch like a Bruce Lee film or something that's like sports or something, and it makes me want to go and do that. Can you imagine like kids that have probably died of watching like superhero films because they now think they can go out and like jump off a roof and fly?
Yeah, but then, that's a slippery slope to go down too, dude, because then you're responsible for everything.
I know, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think people...
There's a certain level of responsibility to it that it should not be marketed as strongly and openly as it is, but we're a country of hypocrisy. Both of ours. Do what we do, not what do what we say, not what we do. We'll show you violence and money and drugs on the screen. Don't go out and try to sell any to make some money, despite the fact that you'll work yourself to death at a dead-end job that will probably give you cancer. Don't hurt anybody, but look at this cool guy in a fucking $1 million suit who's gonna just wipe out whoever he wants and run away from the cops and go retire in a fucking beach house villa somewhere, which is never gonna happen. Not for anybody. That's the other thing too, which is not related to this at all, which I have to bring up. I just thought about this yesterday for some reason. I just realized that I spent 15 years of my life in what some people would consider a fucking paradise, dude. And it was a nightmare for me. I could not get away from that place fast enough. What ironically, what set the thought off in my mind was I was scrolling through the Instagram feed while I was setting all this shit up, and I saw that my sister-in-law posted photos of the town where I used to live, the boardwalk and the beach. Just pictures like that and how nice the view is. And I was looking at it and I was going, man, that place looks great. And then I thought about all the terrible shit that went on in that place and how badly I wanted to get the fuck out of there. None of that has anything to do with this, but I just thought it was funny how, you know, people kill people literally for the chance to make the money to live in a place like that. And that was the worst place I've ever been in my life. You know, racist, fucking classism, like all, not at all what it's cracked up to be. It looks great in the magazine, but it never translates well to reality.
There's a couple scenes I want to just talk about quickly. There's a bit in the toilet where he shoots one of the agent guys, and no, he shoots the bodyguard that's like in the toilet. But there's like blood splatter all over the walls, and then he walks out because he's in a restaurant, I think, with that girl, and he walks out and he's got no blood on him, and I was like,
oh yeah. Like, wait a minute, that don't even make sense.
But and then later on, well, about 5 minutes later, he's in another scene, and he shot someone that's literally next to him again, and it's covered all over his face.
It don't know what it wants to do.
So I was like, but it's just like, because it was so like noticeable in the toilet scene, because it's like all over the wall, and then he comes out, he's got a white shirt on, and there's not an ounce of blood on it, like nothing. I'm like, it's not even on his face, and he was stood behind him, and he just blew his head off.
But see, that I think is just done purely for the visual stimulation. We're gonna put it all over the back of the bathroom wall because that will be more memorable than having it all over the character, even though that would have made more sense.
But I did feel like I was being a bit picky with that. But I'm just, once you see it, I'm like, this seems
You
fucking
can't
obvious.
unsee it.
Like,
yeah.
But then I'm like, I do get that some people might not like notice things like that straight away. But it's like you said, once you see it, it's kind of aggravating. You're like, fuck off.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of those moments in this movie, unfortunately. But again, I mean, this, you could kind of look at this movie as a trendsetter in a way, because I don't know if it was done before this. Maybe it had been, maybe I'm wrong, but at least as far as I could tell, this was the first movie like this besides the James Bond, but that don't really count. That shit sold itself.
And another scene I wanted to just mention was near the end, where there's that helicopter that pulls up above this like room that they're in, and it shoots through the windows. And I just thought it was, because it's literally hovering outside this building, but in line with these windows, that he's in the room. I think he's with the president at this point, or the guy that's meant to be the president. And it's like an army sort of helicopter, and it's just showering the shit out through the windows. And I'm just like I've never seen that in a film, so I was just like, that's sick.
It reminded me of the Godfather movie. I think it was Godfather 2, where there was a similar scene with the chopper. But if you've never
I've
seen
seen
it,
that film. I have seen it, but I just can't remember it. You know what I mean? I've probably seen it in other films, but I like that scene anyway. I just thought
it doesn't get done very often. That one and the Negotiator was also another good one. Samuel L. Jackson was in that one. They had helicopters in there, not necessarily shooting through the windows, but just having the visual of seeing the spotlight basically a couple of feet away from him as he's hanging out of like a fucking 50th floor window in an office building. Like crazy shit, dude.
So I've actually covered all my notes basically, apart from just like my summary and oh, actually, I wanted to just say as well, I really did like the ending of how he like gets away after he's arrested. I don't know if you remember it.
Take me through it. I believe it was the interrogation room.
So they're in he's got that bloke that's like the clone of the president basically, and the cops come and arrest him. Like they get a SWAT sort of team come up, and he's just sat in the chair after he's killed the bloke. So he sort of lets them arrest him, and then they're like escorting him to the station or whatever. And then this agent pulls up with a load of other like a convoy of other agents, but like their own sort of SWAT team, and they're talking to the police and that, and the copper bloke that's tracking him down, and they're like, they basically distract the copper, and the mate is in the back seat with handcuffs on, and then they turn around and he's escaped because like he's with them agents and that, and they've come to like free him basically. So it's very creative how like because they already arrested him, they've got him in the car, and they kind of ambush the police car, and they're like and they distract the copper in that while they let him escape.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch this one over again because I feel like I must have missed out when I watched it on the biggest fucking action scenes, having to run in and out. But I mean, she's fucking old dog now, so
But I just like
unfortunately,
how they set that up at the end because like he basically, like I said, lets him arrest him, and you think, oh, okay,
it's
and
over.
then,
Yeah,
yeah, and then they come and like these agents and that, and they're like they help him sort of escape basically, and he's
I
just
do
gone in,
like
like,
the I do like the Matrix kind of style interrogation scene though, where the cop is basically like, listen, whatever the fuck your name is, this shit's not gonna end the way that you think it's gonna end. And it was
yeah.
basically where he says to him,
that's
"Go ahead."
leading up to just before that happens. He gets out of that car after like literally a few seconds after that. He's like, because he says, doesn't he? He's like, you don't know how it's gonna end or something.
Yeah, he's like, as long as I have one bullet in this gun or some shit like that, it's
Yeah.
gonna end my way. Like he said some crazy shit, and then proceeds to pound the table and just fucking shoot his way out, dude. Crazy. But again, I like shit like that though because it brings you into the resourcefulness of the character in that moment. Like, how the fuck are you gonna get out of this, dude? There's no way. Like, movie's over. This is it. Apparently not.
Yeah, and he's like, all right, bet.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I guess this one could be a shorter one. I guess this week we'll definitely make up for it. I mean, I'm working on shit. Like I don't know if I'll be able to share this with you. Let me try. That would be cool if I could. It's not gonna get my hopes up though. There's no sound to it yet. Obviously.
So I'm just gonna say I won't get into the rating just now, but I just wanted to. I feel like now this could just be a preference thing because I've never really been that heavily into. I did actually see this the other day. I clicked on one of your videos to check out, and
This one, I just started trying to put this together, so I don't know where it's gonna go yet. But
no, I like it though.
it's basically, I'm gonna try to have the loading screens going on, then the music will drop in, and I gotta figure out. The problem is, I want to get. Well, all right, I hit the button already. I need to get shit in here, but we don't have enough yet. Like basically, we need more material.
Look, if I knew how to edit and that, man, and do the stuff that you do, I'd be able to help a lot more. But because I don't know how to do it all, like you just have to take the load, unfortunately.
Yeah, it sucks. I'm not looking forward to it, but that's all right. As you know,
But
sooner or later.
If I knew how to do it, like I'd help. But you've been doing this sort of shit for years. I don't know how to do it. So.
Well, that's what I was saying. I'm gonna try to teach you the little bit that I do know. Once you get the basics of it,
yeah,
it's pretty easy. It's not easy. It's always difficult to do, but at least you'll know what you're fucking doing. But for now, I mean, we'll work it the way we have to. You know, no big deal. We're trying to piece the show together piece by piece. You know, the actual show part of it is the easy part. Everything else that is around it is more difficult, but we'll get there eventually.
I think like people don't realize it, and I've heard other like content creators and that say things, and I'm like, yeah, but do you know what I mean? Like a lot of people say that, but it's true. Like people don't realize the time it takes to do things that, like you said earlier, you might film a 2-minute video, but you know what I mean? That editing for that video could take forever. Or
dude, sometimes it takes me 6 hours. Like that fucking intro to the show that I did. I mean, realistically, working on it straight through, it took me 2 days to put that together. But I mean, that's fucking 2-3 minutes. It goes by so fast and it takes so long to do it. And then on top of that, motherfuckers would be like, well, you talk into a microphone. How hard is it? I could do that. Well, yeah, you could do that. But I'm not walking in this room and just sitting in front of the microphone and going, all right, guys, this is what's going on. Now I got to be on, dude. This takes energy and fucking focus. And then I got to listen to all this bullshit back and hear myself fucking talk and look at my dumb fucking face and edit it all. And by the way, hope the entire time that I'm making a good decision, because nobody's in the room with us going, yeah, cut that part out. It will look better if you cut this and put that where that's supposed to go. There's none of that. So we're the talent and we're trying to manage at the same time while hoping that we're making decent fucking decisions that are not going to look terrible later on, which doesn't matter, because if you're a decent creator in any sense of the fucking word, you will hate anything that you do probably 10 minutes after you're done with it, because you can think of 100 different ways you could have improved it, but you don't have the knowledge to improve it yet. So you got to wait. So everything, I wish it was as easy as just walking into a fucking room and clicking a button to go live, and that's it. It's not that easy at all.
It does my head in as well that certain people that maybe watch your videos that say like things like, you should do it like this or like that, and I'm like, I appreciate you saying that, but are you a content creator? What do you create for you to say that to me? And
not only that, but I like the ones. I like the ones that are like, well, you could definitely have edited this better, or, you're doing YouTube. You're choosing to do YouTube. The least you could do is put in the time and effort into editing. Be like, bro, you do realize that people got to start some fucking where, right? Like, you do know that.
You probably had this as well. I was doing a reaction the other week, and someone said, you talk too much. You pause it too much. I'm like,
oh, that's my favorite.
I was like, what do you mean? It's a reaction video. Do you come here? I said something like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way or something, but go to another channel or whatever. But I'm like, do you come here to watch someone react at being a reaction channel, or are you here for the original material? If you're here for the original song, go and fucking listen to it.
Bro, this is exactly why I had to stop doing it, because I was literally getting comments. I got one. Somebody got so mad at me. They were like, basically, how dare you stop a fucking song in the middle of a guitar solo? Blah, blah, blah is the greatest guitarist to ever fucking live. You never pause during this person's guitar solo. Like, first of all, I had no idea that I became a fucking DJ overnight that was taking your fucking requests. That's for one. Which basically that's what you're doing when you do this shit. People literally do. They want to show up. They want to listen to the song in its entirety. You then have to find a small pocket. Basically, you need to find small pockets of 20 seconds throughout the length of the song for you to interject your fucking commentary and be entertaining at the same time while trying not to step on the band and get your fucking video copyright blocked for using somebody else's fucking music. But no,
I just don't understand.
You're playing a fucking song for you to listen to.
I understand if they want to listen to the song and enjoy
it.
Go
listen to it.
Yeah, but
Spotify has the whole album. Amazon has the whole album. I promise you, dude. Pandora.
And the funny thing is they've probably got it on their iTunes or whatever.
Bro, they listen to it every day. They know every fucking word. They're singing along while they watch the video. But you're the asshole for talking about it, which is the whole purpose of the fucking video in the first place. When you read the title that says reaction, you are literally agreeing by pressing play.
Exactly.
That you want to hear what my thoughts are.
Go and listen to the song. Go and enjoy it. But why come on a reaction channel? Because that's not what it's about.
Bro, I can't take it. And then my favorite thing is that when you actually have the balls to say that you don't like something, like that's a reaction, dude. That's the reaction I had to what I saw and I didn't like it because it's your favorite thing. Doesn't make it everybody else's favorite fucking thing, asshole. And I'm so glad that we don't live in a fucking world where everybody's opinion has to be exactly the same. How boring and dull that world would be. Who are these people? And don't talk. And here's another thing. Don't talk about my fucking subscription count if you don't make videos. If you are not a content creator with more subscriptions than I have, don't bring up my subscriber count.
It ties in with what we said about the other day. Like 10 out of 10 of these people don't even have a picture of themselves. Then you go onto their channel and they've got no videos. You're lucky if they've got a playlist of stuff they like. Do you know what I mean? So what are you criticizing when you've got nothing there for yourself?
I know we're talking about Hitman, right? And I mean, this.
Yeah, we'll get back into that in a sec. I've got some of.
But I mean, dude, this ties in and it doesn't tie in at the same time. I had a comment the other day, dude, that literally fucked up my momentum for days. Not because what they said affected me so badly that I couldn't function. It was the reaction to it getting that fucking mad. And then that depressed that somebody could say something that fucking terrible to another person and not think twice about it. Like somebody wrote in the comment section to me, basically, you know, you don't fucking know nothing. You know, who the fuck are you? To which I basically replied to them saying, you know, you're the representation for, it was actually off of Ocean Wisdom. Fucking, what the hell was that?
Yeah. Sorry, that was my computer. Just like
I was about to say, I didn't know what was going. I thought something was going on here. It was on an Ocean Wisdom video, dude, with the 4 hours. I didn't like the fucking song. Not the end of the world. Guy is like, first of all, you basically learn how to talk before you open your mouth. And I'm like, look, dude, you are now the representation to Ocean Wisdom's fan base. Everybody, give him a round of applause. And this motherfucker says, well, you know, basically justify your existence is what he says. In matter of fact, I'm gonna pull it up just so that I can give you the direct quote because I want you to see.
Did he have a picture on his profile?
Of course not. It's a fucking dog. It's a fucking dog. Why wouldn't it be? Because somebody that talks shit like this would never have the balls to actually put their face.
Do you know someone put on Facebook? They was kind of mocking a UFC fighter, and because he had like glasses on in the picture and stuff, trying to say that he looked like a nerd and that. And I was like, I can bet you the original poster of this that posted this doesn't have a profile picture.
Yeah, of course not. No way. So check this out, dude. It shows right here. What the fuck are you even saying? Do you know? Absolute dribble. So I'm like, Ocean Wisdom's fan base representative. What does that matter? Care to explain yourself? And like an asshole, I took the liberty of explaining myself, thinking that I was talking to a fucking human being. Here's the response I give to him. Sure will. Rather than expect a difference in opinion, regardless of the reason, let's pretend it was my delivery. Fan base of artists of all kinds are very quick to get emotional about what I think instead of valuing their own thoughts. I could greet that with the same tone, but honestly, it's not worth the energy. Hate it if you feel right. No matter what insults or tantrums, you're not changing my mind. And then he says back, that doesn't even make sense. I'm British and very intelligent. Please try harder.
I just want to say that this guy does not represent people that if he's from Britain like me, I just don't want to be with him. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
associated with him. And I like the fact that he said, I'm British, so that means that he's intelligent.
Right. Oh, yeah. Automatically, you're smarter than me because you're from a different part of the planet, asshole. Like, look, nobody's going to argue that you probably are smarter than me, but you're not going to gain any points by stating the obvious. So then I go, I believe half of that statement. I'd love to just entertain you, but I have an interlude to finish. Check out the podcast. It goes over well in the UK. Peace, Governor. And then he says, I suggest not to start what you haven't finished, i.e., your interlude and your belief in half of what you're letting come out of your mouth / head. I read that and I was like, yeah, all right. Standard procedure. I kind of expected that. Then apparently this continues on, which I was oblivious to while it was happening because I didn't get notifications for this. You talk so much shit, but 49 views must tell you that, which is why you're still in my comment section. Feel free to elaborate. I'm quite happy to have this conversation since I'm ignoring you. And it continues on. This is the one that got me a couple days after I seen it. You suck. Is today the day you haven't a fucking clue what you're talking about? Yeah. And then I'm going to skip ahead before I address that and continue on to say absolute bullshit. Stop dribbling for fuck's sake. Swallow all that gob in your mouth before you try to chat with a straight face. And then he finishes out with need a garbage truck to remove all your dribble. Now, here's why I bring this up. You suck. Is today the day? What if it had been? What if it had been? You don't know me, dude. You don't know nothing about my life. Here's why I bring this up. I'm a strong motherfucker. Not everybody is as strong as me. Every day, I have to come up with reasons not to kill myself. Not because I'm depressed, but because I'm in chronic pain every single day of my fucking life. So every day that I wake up to this pain, I have to then remind myself of why am I choosing to live through this miserable fucking existence. Having said that, why would you even say to somebody, is today the day? Who the fuck raises somebody to say something like that? I mean, I know we're talking about movies and it's all supposed to be cool and great. But I mean, honestly, that type of shit is never okay. There are people that I wish nothing but terrible things for. Not actually.
I mean, it sums up who he is because he said that, but again, he's not even got a picture of himself. So he's saying that sort of shit with no, like, balls because he's not identifying himself.
Right. Like, but see, here's how I could tie it in, dude. At least a hitman signs a contract. When you get a contract put out on you, you're kicking around dirt in a world you're eventually expecting to get some shit coming back to you.
Yeah,
for whatever horrible
sword,
thing.
die by the sword, isn't it? So
yeah, but this, I put a fucking video out into the abyss. I don't like a song. So is today the day I'm gonna kill myself because I don't think the way you do? Like, dude, this internet, like, if we pause on a movie for a moment, I don't know what is the fascination with our culture in general as a species that it's acceptable to just throw around suicidal ideology like this, like it's not a big fucking deal. And I understand anybody can look at this and go, internet bullying, you want to stop the problem, turn the computer off. I get that 100%. I don't have to respond to this guy, but a comment like that doesn't need a response to be effective. It doesn't matter what mood you're in. When you read something like that, it's going to bring you to a dark place. And that don't even include if you have mental problems like I do. But I just want to take a moment to say, if you're writing shit like this in the people's comment sections, I want to talk to you for a minute. I'm not telling you to change your life. I'm not saying that what you do or you don't do is right or wrong, but you do realize that there are people that are on the other side of these fucking things, right? So just imagine if you walked out your front door and there was a stranger standing outside that just looked you in your face and was like, hey, asshole, you're going to fucking kill yourself today because you should, because you're worthless, because nobody gives a fuck about you. You could know those things are not true, but if somebody tells you that every time they see you, you're going to give it a thought. So even if you were raised, or better yet, even if you weren't raised by whatever excuses for parents that you may have, it's never okay to say some bullshit like that in a comment section. I would never give any of you fucking sissy bitches the satisfaction of knowing that you affected my life so negatively that it would cause me to take any type of action in that way. However, I just want you to know all your hopes and dreams will come true one day because I will be dead, just like you and everybody else on the fucking planet. I will make that choice if I have anything to say about it. And lastly, if you're going to comment, even if you have criticism, if you want to suggest something for the show, if you want to give your thoughts on why you don't like it, why you loved it, whatever you want to do, fine. But understand that your words actually do have fucking power, even if you feel powerless wherever you're at in your life right now. If you don't have anything thoughtful to actually say, even if you want to write to me to go fuck myself, or you hate the show, or I sound like a drug addict and I talk like a retard, whatever you want to say, put some thought into it or don't waste my fucking time, because I don't want to read something that has no value to it at all whatsoever. I'm all for constructive criticism. I read the comments, take your suggestions, all that bullshit, but I'm not going to entertain that kind of behavior. So I just want to let that be known for everybody in the comments section in the future who will be watching this, everybody who comes across it when it's done streaming. And I appreciate everybody. If I could take a quick moment to thank the one person besides myself who subscribed to the UKNJ Project YouTube channel, and everyone who has watched these videos as we put them out so far. Appreciate all of you. And we're not going to shut the comment section down. I don't care who writes what. The whole
I think we have to make a point though. Like, if people are going to try and come on here and do that sort of stuff, they're just going to get blocked.
Yeah, because I don't have time to entertain that type of nonsense, and neither does he. And not to mention that.
And you know what plays into it with me as well is I've been watching some documentaries and that on suicide recently, and a lot of it is like teenagers and stuff. Like, and I know it affects everyone, like all ages. But
because I don't know what our fan base is yet. I'm not sure where our numbers are, so I just want to throw it out there just in case we might have younger people watching this. You know, you never know.
I just like it's going to affect. That can affect anyone. Someone saying that to anyone, but I think as well, just me being a parent as well. Like, there's a lot of things that I've seen and watched, and there's kids that have killed themselves because of this sort of shit. Whether it's from another kid or another adult saying it to a kid to do things like that, and kids are more vulnerable. So, like, it affects everyone, but you got to think about what you're saying, because especially when you're saying it to if you're an adult and you're saying it to a kid as well, like, what are you doing?
Stupid. I was just gonna say real quick. I'm sure you could probably go back through my history on the internet. I was sure that I've said a handful of horrible things in comment sections before. But it wasn't until I started making content that I actually realized how much the comment section actually fucking matters. How valuable it can be. But don't ever confuse yourself and think that this show needs to rely on comments to operate, because it doesn't. The comment section is a luxury for you to have, and it can be taken away. Not that it will, not that it should, but I want you all to understand, as much of a luxury as it is for us to broadcast and do this show, is a luxury for you to be a fucking part of it, and don't ever confuse that. To whoever needs to hear that part of it, we appreciate everybody for their fucking support in the past and in the future. So, but yeah. Not that that had anything to do with the movie, but since we're on the subject of death, I thought, why not? Might as well touch up.
No, that's like just like there's no excuse for it. Like you said, you can agree that you can say to someone like you're full of shit, or do you know what I mean? But when you go to that level of like kill yourself, and do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. So like you got
I mean, dude, I can't remember the last time I seriously said to somebody, kill yourself. I say it often, but I mean, I'm joking around. I don't think I've ever said to anybody, kill yourself, like really, and meant it. That's just not, I think about shit differently, I guess. I don't throw shit around like that. Like it don't mean nothing, because it definitely does. But that's the separation, I guess, desensitized from all the, not to sound like a boomer mom, but all the video games and violent movies, maybe it desensitized, a lot of people to where
we're just in a mess, mate. We're just in a mess worldwide with just hate and flipping. I don't know what's going on now. Like it's just getting worse.
I mean, dude, it's real easy. Believe me, I know. I have to fight the anger every fucking day. It is way easier to lean into the anger and tell everybody to go fuck themselves and grab your nuts and be done with it. It's a lot
I get
harder.
passionate like you do with people on like groups and stuff I'm in, where I'll where I have debates about things and I don't agree with people, and I get really I'm like, nah, you're wrong. But I don't, like you said, I don't go, go hang yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's because you're not, I don't understand how you allow yourself to get so married to a fucking idea that you feel strongly enough that you think another person should die for not believing what you believe. Like, that's crazy. Save that shit for the big topics like gun control and abortion, not fucking song lyrics. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? And even then, Christ, the fuck, everybody is so like, if people
get back into the film.
Yeah, because I could talk about this for the next 4 hours. I mean, really, but the film does connect in a way because it's emotionally, this conversation is emotionally distant from how a regular person should act and behave. Yeah. If you have a barcode on the back of your head and there's a contract out on me, then yeah, right when am I going to go for it? But I mean, come on. I'm trying to fucking have a good time. I have very limited amount of time on this fucking planet, and I don't know when it's going to end, and I would really rather spend it watching movies in a couple of months, hopefully getting fucking nice and fucked up while we do it. Just try to have a good time, man. That's all I want to do. Hitman 47 is a fucking great movie that you could take apart at any moment. You could pick any piece of it you like and tear it to pieces about how terrible of a movie it is.
So I just want to go off on that point is before giving my rating, that for me it was a little bit too much for me, like in terms of action and that, like it was just too much.
Well, wait, have you seen John Wick? I think we've talked about this.
I think I've got number 2 actually downloaded to watch, but I haven't watched it yet.
Where are you at? Do you feel the same way about John Wick that you do about this one?
Yeah.
Too much, yeah.
Like I said, it's because it's just never.
You're not an action guy.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't hate it, but I've just never been like when when it's just full on action all the time, I'm just like, it just loses me.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get so everything that would make an action movie buff love this movie is the very thing that you don't like about it, which is.
And I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it, but I just, yeah, I've always been.
I think it's because there's too much happening at like when you're following a story, you know where it's going. When you're thrown in the middle of a fucking gun action sequence, there is so much going on. You're not really sure what to follow, who to root for, other than you know that you want the character to pull out of the other end of it. And that's probably the other thing too. In the back of your mind, during the whole fight scene, you're going, well, I know the guy has to live. Otherwise, there's no movie. Right? So it almost ruins there's no enjoyment for the moment for you because you know no matter what happens, he's going to make it. Probably.
And I didn't like you touched upon earlier, like how the film just, like it skips the whole like childhood aspect of it.
I know, that's such a shame too, dude. It's such a robbery. I really hope they go back and God willing, somebody that is a fan of the fucking franchise, maybe you know somebody, send them this tape, even if it's a minute, just anything, please get the shit in motion. I would love to fucking see that movie. Are you kidding me? That would be fucking amazing. Do it right, please.
Another, like, this is just like my summary basically, but I felt like it didn't need the girl in it, like I said earlier. Like,
no, give her a role. Give her a real role that she can actually do something with. Every character, man, woman, it doesn't matter. In order for your character to have an existence in the film, by the time your character's role is up in the movie, I should already be Googling who you are. Right? If your character is done right, if there's not enough of that for you to feel like the audience member should care about who this character is, cut them out, right around it. Don't waste our time. Because if you're not going to give us the ability to really care about this person, then why are they here? I mean, really.
And I think you'll find quite a lot of the time as well is that if you do see a film with someone in, like, this doesn't happen all the time, but I think it happens quite a bit where you'll go and look like up their previous work and they've got other roles in other films or whatever that are like similar roles to the first one you saw them in that attracted you to them, like in terms of them being a good actor or actress.
Definitely. I mean, Tom Cruise was that for Mission Impossible. He did like 6 movies. They're all great. You probably hate them, but
I haven't even seen all of them. I think I've seen 2 of them.
But if you're not an action guy though, dudes, there's no sense in it. It's not made for you.
Like from this though was the weapons. I really did like the weapons in this. Like, I just thought it was creative, like how they like revealed some of the weapons, and like I enjoyed the weapons, even though it was a bit over the top for me. I did enjoy like the variety of weapons and that they had in it.
All right, hold on. I got to take a piss real quick. So if you want to finish up your notes, I'll be right back.
Okay. So yeah, so just too much action for me. I know it's an action film, but I feel like we've touched on like a few times, it would have been nice to hear or see like the childhood aspect at the beginning of the film rather than just showing us clips of them in like some camp thing, and that would have been nice. Change the girl's role in it for like another hit person or an agent or something, just something that changes the dialogue a bit and the cast for, not the cast, but like her role in the film, because it's just, you see it all the time, and I think there needs to be more creative with that side of it. Weapons gets an A from me, and I thought the action scenes, even though they were over the top, I did think that they were creative in most of them, which I enjoyed. Like I said earlier with the train scene, I like how that all panned out. Like the helicopter scene, the sniper scene with the head explosion. Even, we didn't talk about it, but the spoon reflection in the calf as well, in the restaurant thing they're in, that was creative as well. So yeah, not the best thing I've ever seen, but not the worst either, but I feel like they rushed it, and they could have built it up more. And I think that the main character maybe could have been casted better, but didn't do the worst job. So that's my thoughts on it. I just wait for Jack to get back for the rating, but
I was just gonna say,
I just mentioned the spoon bit in the film, which we mentioned in a previous stream, but we didn't talk about it today. Do you remember in the restaurant where he looks in the reflection of the spoon?
oh yeah. Well, before we talk about that, I don't know if this is gonna go anywhere, but it just hit me while I was taking a piss, right? Like, I could put an intro together. I think bare bones. This is bare bones. I have no idea if this even could go anywhere, but we're doing all types of movies. So I think I could probably take like old school. Here's the ideas that just hit me in the head right now. Old trailers, grainy fucking sound for like horror movies and action promos. If I could take, I think I have it like, I don't know, have it like categories, like different types of. I don't know what I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything. I don't know how to put in the word.
We should talk about it like off the stream, just so because I don't know what like.
I don't know what I'm trying to say, but there's basically what I'm getting at is there's an idea in here somewhere that I maybe could do something with or not. I guess that's my contribution to the show right there. But yeah, the spoon thing.
Like, it's something so simple, but like again, like I don't remember seeing that in a film really. So,
but how many movies have you watched where you're literally like, there's no way you couldn't have heard that guy sneak up on you?
Is like, I've seen it in like a prison film or something where they hold out like
the mirror, the broken mirror.
Yeah. Like, off the top of my head, that's the closest thing that I've seen it to, and it's not the same. So,
bro, like how many movies you watch, and you're like, there's no way you couldn't have heard that person creeping up behind you. You definitely would have seen that thing over there. What are you talking about? It highlights that moment right there where I could even just take something as simple as a spoon and just kind of get a little glimpse behind me of what's going on. Try to see where my target's at. That's the shit that saves this movie for me. Is the details to the attention to that degree. I wish we had more of that, because I think, as stupid as this sounds, I think if there was more attention to that type of detail, it would be easier to take somebody like you who is not necessarily into action, and it could put you into the character's shoes enough to where you might actually be invested on the action as it takes place, because you can mentally put yourself there. You can't put yourself in the middle of a shootout because you don't even own a gun. If you owned a gun, maybe.
If they added the childhood stuff in at the beginning, that would have drawn me in as well a lot more.
Especially because the trailer made it look like they were going to, and they didn't. Bummer.
I think they missed the trick with that one, because that would have pulled me in a bit more anyway.
Definitely. So I mean, again, look, these are movies that I love this movie, but I'm not. It's not without fucking prejudice, you know. I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's the greatest film ever made just because I like it. So I mean, obviously, whether we like something or we don't like it, it's gonna go under the light, and we're gonna have to even this shit. Like, look, I can't wait for people that love this movie. This is how you're able to separate casual movie fans or music fans from actual fans. Because people who really care about a fucking movie will go, yeah, I love this movie, but that shit is corny. You know, they acknowledge it.
Week about Bloodsport, like,
yeah,
I love that film, but watching it back, like I said, like it's not perfect.
That's part of what the fun is, though, to be able to go back and watch a movie you haven't seen since you were a kid and go, oh man, this is all wrong. I don't remember it like this at all.
Just a quick note on that as well. you know the big the buildings in Bloodsport where they're all the houses and that like joined up. It's like a slum.
Yeah.
That's not there anymore. I looked up like the filming locations that got destroyed in like the mid-90s. That's like
Oh shit.
some like nature park or something now. Like that was all people's lives and houses and like all on like built on top. It was a bit like the slums in Brazil and that. That's what it reminded me of. But
I honestly, doing this shit makes me want to take a deeper look into the movies, even though we only have a week to prepare those. That's not a long time. I mean,
I was just going to say, like, depending on like if we've seen the film before as well, and there's stuff that we'd be like, oh, we should look into that because I like that how that looks or something. Then it might be a bit easier, but it's harder to do with films we haven't seen before because we don't know what's going to be in it. So
right, and it's only a week to prepare. You got your YouTube show to run, your daily videos and all that, plus your motivational shit. I got the podcast on a Saturday. I didn't even put a fucking episode out last week.
I've been struggling with my channel recently. Like I put some up yesterday, I think, but they're only little short clips and haven't really been doing reactions. So been waiting to do some sports ones, but like the football stuff, they've been on like a break, so I haven't been able to do them either.
Well, I mean, dude, this is why it's kind of good to be able to switch lanes and do this. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally been so crazy for the last bit. I'm still adjusting, getting this show into my daily routine of content creating and regular living life, because usually I wake up between 6 and 11 a.m. I'm in here, I record an hour, then take the dog out first, come in here, record the hour, then become a human being and go about my day. And then because we usually record in the morning, I have to skip that whole process and just do this. But now at least we have a day kind of nailed down.
Yeah.
Where we know that, like, all right, Tuesdays is usually the day we're going to do it, or Thursdays, like it's one of the two. And the time, is it easier for you to do earlier in the afternoon?
I mean, usually it doesn't. It probably doesn't really matter, to be honest. I mean, this week it kind of went a little bit up in the air because I got asked to kind of babysit like late in the night before, like yesterday, like last night, basically. I got asked to babysit, so I wasn't expecting that. So usually it doesn't. My time's usually pretty free for it. So probably earlier in the day. It doesn't have to be mega early, but I mean, I'm not a great sleeper anyway, so I could do it at night. It's just, I don't know. We naturally did more in the day before anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Either way, I mean, it seems like if it's in between that hour of time, at least it's a little easier to do. It's fucked up sometimes. I'll wake up and an hour goes by so fast. They're like,
well,
oh,
last
shit,
week I got a little bit worried because like the time had come and I was checking the YouTube because usually I like refresh the YouTube and I'll see that you've put like the preview up or something and I was like,
Yeah.
the time is there for us to go and I was like, and sometimes you've put it up at like 10 minutes before it starts and I can see it get ready to come on and then I couldn't see it and then it got to like 2:00 last week and I was like, where is he? And I like messaged you privately and like didn't hear anything for a bit and I was like, fuck, like so
that was a mess.
It's gonna happen in it, but like I was worried a little bit last week because I was like, shit, like I haven't even heard from him like outside of it either. So I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Oh man, I hate it. There's always some shit going on, but we get it done. Just a reminder to everybody, we are a 6-hour time difference between us when we do this shit. So, we both have outside things that are going on too. So,
I'm not trying to like feel sorry for me or nothing, but I had like my kids for half the day today, and like I only had like 2 of them. I've got 4 kids. I had 2 of them today, and the other was at school and that. But like just after I dropped them back and stuff, after I had them, like I was just mentally like really tired, like just from just having my kids. And then I was like, oh, I want to go to bed, but because we was doing this, so like, do you know what I mean? I was like, I can't go to bed. We got to do this. So,
yeah.
But like, I just wanted people to like, it's not easy. Like, and I feel like I'm like repeating myself, but we don't get paid for doing this. So like people just need to realize what it is.
You can, well, I should mention, I started the podcast for this channel. You can, if you chose to, you could donate to that channel. There's a sponsorship button. Oh, and I wanted to discuss this too. We have the ability to put ads on the podcast. We don't have to have a minimum listenership to do it. So now it's just about how do we do it? And we got to work all that shit out, but we can also add ads onto it. So maybe one day this shit actually might pay. I mean, a year and a half ago, almost 2 years, I had nothing. And now today I'm sitting on almost $11, which is not, doesn't sound like a lot of money, but when you only get 3 cents for every 167 plays that you get, $10 decent amount. So, you know, this one I think will actually, I'm going to pull up our
I'm
show.
going to just give my rating quickly, just so I've done it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to give it a 7.5, 7.5. I was going to give it a 7 originally, but then I was like, this is why I'm glad. I don't know if we mentioned it in the other stream, but we've added like half marks because I think sometimes you'll want to give like a film, like you might think, oh, I was going to give it a 7, but I feel it's a bit better than a 7, but it's not quite an 8. So we've added half marks now. We've probably already mentioned it, but I wasn't sure. But I'm going to give it a 7.5. I think, obviously, because I'm not like an action person anyway, but I thought it was better than average. And I liked the action scenes. I thought the action scenes were creative, how they did them. I'm just not like I don't get excited by that stuff like as much as like I would with like horror or sort of like a martial arts thing. Or
I agree with you. I give it the same rating because
and also I'd add just the like the storyline, the childhood aspect, and like the stuff we mentioned about the girls rolling it. Just I don't think it could have gone higher than what I give it, just because there was too many things in there that I was like could have been done better.
I was just gonna say that because of the fact that they missed out on a huge part of the storyline they could have used. Throwaway characters, tropey kind of plot lines a little bit, but I mean, it took a lot of balls.
There's a little bit of a problem in it as well if you want to change the main character more than anyone else in the film.
Yeah, because you can't. Yeah. He's very defined. So while that's not always a bad thing, it does really confine you to a real small box. But it is a great movie. I would recommend it. I highly recommend the game to check it out and play it if you're into that type of shit. You know, what happened? So yeah, I don't know. I would recommend it definitely. I'm trying to think of what else to really say. I mean, I've already torn it apart enough. I think attempting to make a movie out of a video game.
I almost feel like they have to add like a remake of the game for them to remake the film, because I feel like they probably think, oh, the game like is old now. Do you know what I mean? There's no point in remaking it unless we bring out a new game as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hitman 2 just came out not long ago, but I'm not 100% positive. And I don't think, not the movie, the game though. Yeah. I don't think there's ever been another one made after that, but I'm not sure. But you know, yeah, I agree with what you said. I basically second everything, but just like I showed you real quick. All the episodes are here in audio form. I tried to upload video as well because you can do that, but apparently our files are way too long. Only Joe Rogan can put up a 3-hour video. So, you know, it is here. We got a couple of plays already, which is kind of surprising, but they're all here. Ong Bak, Chinese Hercules, Taoist Master, and the Blood Sport. This one will be added to it. If you want to sing, I'll show you what the site looks like. This is what you should be looking at if you come up on the right place. There's our page. You can listen on Spotify, and you can send us voice messages. I wanted to add this. This is why I brought it up. If you want to participate in the show and you don't want to get involved in the chat, if you feel more comfortable, you can send a voice message through Anchor. And it gets sent right to us, and we could use it in our show. So if you have a recommendation, we can literally credit it to you and throw your voice in the intro of recommending whatever movie it is in the future. If that's something you're into, I'm not sure. But I give you the same as far as the rating numbers are concerned.
I'm surprised by that. Just I thought you'd have it slightly higher, just because I knew that you like this film going into it, like a bit like I was with Bloodsport.
Well, just because, I mean, of everything that we brought up is even more of a reason why I can't rate it higher. Because then
before we discussed everything, did you have in your head that you was going to have it higher?
Yeah, I honestly thought it was going to be like a 10. And then I started to watch it, and I was like, oh, man. I guess I was just so happy to have the movie when it came out. I let a lot of shit slide just because I was happy to have it.
I was like that with Bloodsport, because before we did it, I thought I was going to give it at least an 8. So
right. But this, the interesting thing is, I don't even know what my opinion is going to be before we get here and start talking about it, because sometimes I'm moved in the other direction. But, I mean, dude, it was fun. I'm really looking forward to next week. That shit would be easy for me. I know the movie Inside
Are we
Now.
definitely doing Sunset? Because I'm only saying that because we originally said we was going to do like once a month, innit, for different genres.
Yeah, but I mean, only reason why I think you should do it is just because it will, if for no other reason, it can help the people that watch the movie get a better idea of what's going on inside of your head. To kind of get
after this one, maybe go back to like martial arts for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that. That's cool. I'm just saying, so they can, at least they'll be able to figure out who you are a little bit more. So, I mean, yeah, you got your channel and all that, but giving an analysis on these movies, I think, kind of gives people an idea of where we're at. So this should kind of give them a better idea of how you come to the decisions that you come to. But yeah, after that, especially because I want to cement it early on that we have the ability and the range to be able to do movies that are in this genre as well.
And I suppose it's like good because I already know that it's a completely we've spoke about it, so I know that it's completely different. So I think it's good in that aspect because when we do the martial arts ones, obviously they've all got the same sort of theme running through them. Whereas like for these 2 weeks, it's totally opposite ends of the spectrum. So
yeah, and then after that, we could figure out what martial arts movie we're gonna go back to. But you know, selfishly, I'm pushing this one through just because I want to.
And I've been meaning to watch it for a while anyway, so it'd be good for me to finally see it because I've watched the trailer and that, and we spoke about it months ago. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm excited, dude. So let me know, I guess, how. Oh no, never mind. Because you already have it, right?
Yeah, I need to check the link, but when I checked it the other day, it was working. So
okay, I guess when you got it, everything is good. We'll do it and we'll plan it out like we have done. So you can subscribe to the newly added podcast of this show, so you can download it and listen to it on demand if you choose. It's on YouTube under this channel. It's on YouTube on UKNJ Project. All social medias, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, UKNJ Project. Bloodsport.
I just want to just jump in. Sorry, just quickly. I just want to say that if there's anything that like we need to change or anything, just that like we will try and one of us will try and hop on and say if there's a change of plan, unless it's really last minute and we
Oh, right. Oh, hold on. You froze.
Just wanted to let people know, like, we will try and give you updates if there's a change of plan or whatever on the channel. But if it's too close to when we're going live or whatever or streaming, then probably won't happen. Just because by the time it's uploaded, like, we'll already be doing the show. So, but if we've got enough time beforehand, we'll basically give you updates if anything changes.
That, and I'm going to try to work in a schedule to shoot off an Instagram post and a tweet before we go live, so it'll give everybody a couple of minutes to get there. I don't know how much that helps before we go live, if it does alert anybody or not, but I'm going to do that. I'll try to work it into the schedule. Everything will eventually come together smoothly at some point. Just give us a minute and we'll get there. So with that out of the way, dude, that is it. Subscribe across all social medias, Anchor, Spotify, Pocket Cast. Remember, UKNJ Project is available there. On YouTube, BCHQ, reactions, motivational speaking, laughing at birds, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check your local podcast listings. Next week, the Sunset Limited. We will be coming back to review this. It's going to be a little bit different from what you guys are accustomed to, but shaking it up every once in a while is not necessarily a bad idea. So we'll sew this fucking thing up, dude, and I will speak to you, obviously, over the next couple of days. Until next week, everybody else, catch you then.
See you later, guys.